Hello, hello. Christiani here, reaching out to you from Assisi Yoga. And today we are going to be focusing on releasing, releasing tension from those little pockets in the body where it's almost unnoticeable until we feel the freedom that comes from the release itself. So as you see here, I have a chair. It's not necessary. Maybe a couple bolsters will work for you, but definitely a blanket. You see, I don't have a yoga mat with me, but a couple of blankets will be lovely. And just that you are dressed comfortably, and that the temperature in your space is not too cold. Warmth is always ideal for this kind of environment. This process of release is very much benefited from warmth, from not too bright of light, and of course as quiet of an environment as you can have. So go ahead and grab your chair if you have one, or a couple of blankets, and let's go ahead and get started. So lying down with a chair nearby if you have one, and definitely a blanket for your head. If not anything else, do have a blanket for the head. Okay, and then from here, I'm going to invite you to take both your legs up, and I will invite you now to begin to circle the ankles around, but do your best to make this movement happen from the floor of the pelvis. I'm not saying that it's necessary that you actually feel this happening, but I am inviting you to consider the reality that your feet and your pelvic floor are deeply interconnected. And by just setting the intention to recognize that, you begin to establish a closer relationship. So there is a lot of tension we call in Ayurveda, excess vata, too much air gets trapped into the joints and therefore arthritis and so on. So to circle the ankles is a really wonderful gift you give to your body, because you're on your feet most of each day. And then when you feel that you've had enough of that, just go ahead and cross one leg over the other, whichever one you want, and then take a hold of the outside of the ankles. But as you do, you want the feet to remain engaged, because that will make your hips a little bit happier. So here I have my right leg in front, closer to my torso, and that means that my right hip is spiking up a little bit. So I am going to send the intention for that right hip to root down. And so whichever leg you have up on top, closer to your torso, encourage that hip area, the back part of the pelvis, to root down as you breathe. So the idea is that you're sending your breath into those tighter places, not with a fight, but with curiosity and with communication and exchange. Body, do you want to open up a little further today? Maybe body says no, and you back off a little, you breathe a little more, and you see what happens. And then let's go ahead and switch sides. So now I have the left leg on top, which means that I'm going to want to encourage that left hip to drop down more. So I am doing this work precisely to open, to release that tightness that often gets accumulated in the lumbar, and where people so often complain of low back pain. It's just that the hips are tight, right? They're drawing in towards one another instead of opening up, which is the case here. Just anything that you can do to open up. If, say, for example, you don't yet have the flexibility to grab a hold of the outside of your ankles like this, as certainly was the case with me in the beginning, maybe you have the flexibility to grab a hold of just below the knee and draw in the same way. So it's important that you're always moving in the direction of something, of the direction that is ideal for you, wherever you may be. So again, really nudging that left hip down so that the pelvis can broaden. And then from there, you may feel perfectly fine to rest the legs onto the chair or a couple of bolsters and feel that the lumbar, the two sides of the lumbar, are spreading out. So there's the sacrum right in the middle and the two sides are spreading out. And if that's not quite the case, or you don't exactly feel that, go ahead and do it manually. Open up the right to the right and the left to the left. And then now here, I'm going to invite you to take just the hands up. And similarly, as you worked those ankles, you can just rest the feet completely now. Rest the legs there. No more work there. But as you work the ankles, you also want to work the wrists, right? Our wrists do a lot of work these days, don't they? So you can continue lying down like this. I'm going to sit up because next comes the shoulder and the neck. And I feel that you are going to be better served if you see me from a seated position. But continue on with the hands. Just work with the hands is crucial because we are moving the hands with our devices in ways that are not really allowing them to open and to circulate in all the ways that they're meant to. So, those beautiful dancers that express so much through their hands, even just the thumbs moving them around. So really take the time to work this. How much time? You will feel a little bit of soreness, right? And then you can let it go and then do it again the next day and again the next day. The consistency, continuity of these practices is really the most valuable gift you can give yourselves, So even if for just a few minutes, whatever it is that you can be consistent with. And then when you feel that you've had enough with your hands, I'm going to invite you to take a hold of the opposite elbow with your hands, like so. And then from here, lift one side, let's say the right side, and move it in move towards the left. So now you're opening up the side ribs. So bring some breath into the side ribs, into the side lungs, the back lungs, and even the back of the shoulder, right, in the area of the armpit, stretching all of that out. Breathe. Exhale, take it a little further. And then inhale on your way back so that you can feel more of that side resting on the ground. You should be able to feel that. And then let's go ahead and do the second side. Lift the left side up and reach over to the right. Feel those ribs on the left stretching. Feel a little more access into your lungs. In the area of the armpits, the back of the shoulder, even the chest here is getting a nice breath of fresh air, right? Like, body, where can I give you a breath of fresh air? To just ask that question when we feel tense. That alone will change everything. Test it out if it sounds a little bit far out. But do it consistently for a little while before drawing judgment, although it may happen instantly. And then go ahead and come back to center And then release that. And just notice that more of your body is now in contact with the ground because of the work that you just did. And that's really important because the ground is your stabilizing force. It's your base. It's the ground that holds us. So to connect to that, it's a very powerful tool for releasing. And then we have that tension that's usually at the forefront of our attention, really in the frontal lobes. And what we want to do with that, as I mentioned in the previous video, of just centering, connecting. If you haven't had a chance to take a look at that, enjoy that practice as well. Is the most wonderful way to address an area that is tense is to look at its supporting place, which in this case is the base of the skull, and give that more space. So that's what we'll do right now. We're going to take your hands like so, and then bring it to the base of the skull, so that your thumbs are right at the area of the ears, and then encourage it to come up, to lift up. So the occiput, this bone that is right here connecting the head and the neck, see if you can, just through your imagination, your intention, send more breath to that area. Notice if that allows you to release the forehead. Just naturally releases the forehead. Naturally releases the eye into the socket. And then from here, you may want to bring your elbows in and draw the right ear a little bit more towards the right shoulder, opening up the left side of the neck a little bit more. And then coming back through center, drawing the right ear towards the right shoulder, opening up the left side of the neck. So you're not forcing in any way. You're just in exchange with the body, in communication with the body, asking the body, would you like to go a little further? And breathe into that new space that's potentially there. And then notice that maybe something does open up. How wonderful. And then back to center. Take a nice deep breath in, and then very slowly release the head into the ground. You notice with that new gained space now, the chin is in slightly. Again, supported by the earth. Take a moment here just to scan the body to see if there are any places that are still holding on to tension. Maybe the area of the groins. And if so, you can ask the leg to release from the hip socket. Similarly, you can ask the hip socket to let go of the leg. Maybe there's a little bit of tension that you spot in the area of your shoulders. Maybe one particular shoulder. And if so, you can ask that arm to release from the shoulder socket. And ask the shoulder socket to allow that arm to let go of the arm. And take a few more moments here, just scanning the body. Your only job is to release tension. Because as you do, you have the opportunity to inhabit more of the body. More space becomes available. Connect to that inner wisdom. That guiding intuition. As I like to call it, your well-being compass. And if you're really happy here, or maybe not necessarily happy, but that you are, if you are here, settled, exploring, discovering more space, please do continue, stay with it. And to those of you who are ready to move on to the next thing, know that the practice is here for you anytime. Just a few minutes of your day to release will enhance the rest of the day. For those of you who are moving on, I invite you to draw your knees into your chest, to roll onto the side, either side, to place that top hand onto the ground and to push with your hand to come up. And as you come up, let the head be the last thing to come up, so that you can continue to cultivate that peaceful state that you've been exploring here so far. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste. Be well. Take time to release each day.